Rotendo, Grace Dube. Good night to you. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great too. Thank you. Looking so radiant, like your outfit.
Thank you. I love your smile as usual.
So very much. So very much. Okay, so tonight's topic will be budget. So before we get started, could you please help us to understand a bit better by just explaining for us what a budget is?
All right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us from wherever you are. And like Javier already mentioned, we are going to be talking about budget today. So just a side disclaimer. What we are going to be sharing tonight is not a specific advice for your specific situation, so don't take it that way. For your own specific situation, make sure you consult with your financial advisor or a tech specialist or a bot for your specific situation and your specific needs as well. All right, so to just jump in and answer what you just said, right? So a budget is simply a plan that lays out your future activities, so to say, right? About how you plan to use your money, if that's simply as that. And it's a plan that you can, that is actually in dollars and cents, right? So you determine how you're going to use your money in the future. So in other words, also creating a plan on how you want to manage your money as well on a regular basis, right? And that also helps you setting your financial goals and determining your income and how you're going to also spend that money that you have as well, and making decisions about, you know, how to allocate other maybe discretionary funds as well.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you so very much for enlightening us. So, what might be a couple of reasons why budgeting would be important and crucial for us to do very frequently?
Yeah, so budgeting in itself is a financial tool, and it's really important for many reasons, and especially for your own special financial health, right? It's a key tool that you need in your financial health. And some of the things that the budget tool is important for is it actually helps you give you control over your money, right? Rather than, you know, being controlled by it, you are actually able to actually control your own finances as well. So that's why budgeting is actually important, among other things, right? And also it also helps you to know where your money goes, right? And supports, you know, you in your journey to stretch every dollar, because right now, especially in this economy, I bet everybody is interested in stretching their dollars. So you can't do that if you really don't know, or you are not on top of your money game as well. So this budgeting actually helps you to be on top of your money game.
Right. And okay, so we see now why it's important for us to make budgets, but is there a possibility that there are different kinds of budgets? And if there are, could you just walk us through the different kinds of budgets that exist?
All right. So there are many different types of budgets that are out there. And so you can actually end up here. I'm just going to remove this one because I think we are just using the main output here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hear you well.
Okay, so I think we're just using this one, so I'm just gonna remove the headset. All right, so there are many different types of budgets that are out there, and which actually gives you the flexibility to choose what really works for you, right? Starting from like where you can actually, so another example is what they call pay you first, right? You can have that as your budget, whereby you automate some spending, discretionary to just yourself. You automate that to go maybe in a separate account where you are paying yourself first, right? Before anything else, right? You can do that. And then you also have other budgets, if you have heard the 50-30-20 budget, and that is simply like you set aside 50%, like of all the income that you have, you set aside 50% going to like your needs, your major needs, right? And then you have 30% going to about necessities, and then you have 20% going to savings, right? So depending on what goals you want to achieve, and also like the flexibility that you want to have around your budget system, it's like you can have an option to choose that or mix some of this as well. Some want to go simple and use an envelope system, right? Whereby they just say, maybe for the month, I have this amount that I want to spend maybe for groceries, this amount that I want to spend on entertainment, this amount that I want to spend on my utilities. So they put the money in those different envelopes, like written the amounts, and once they spend that amount, like if it's done, it's done. They'll wait until the next month to do that, and if there's anything that is remaining behind, they'll have them as savings for themselves as well, right? And other ones will be like for those people that want to do a calendar budget, right? Whereby they'll just, based on like when their income is coming, right? Some of them might want to do like on a bi-weekly, if their income is coming bi-weekly. So they'll say, okay, bi-weekly, I'm getting this income, and during that bi-weekly period, these are my expenses, right? So they'll detail their expenses based on that. So they'll say, okay, this bi-weekly amount that I'm getting is going to be spent over these 2 weeks and in this expenses, so to say, right? And then the next bi-weekly payment or income that they get, they also do it that way. And if they're being paid on a monthly basis, they can also do that and have it on the calendar. And it might be easy for people, especially like those people that like to use Google or anything like that. You can actually just plug in your numbers in Google, right? Unless if you want to like have a separate worksheet, you can also just plug it in into Google and make it like useful the way you want to do that as well. And there are many mobile apps out there that people can also use to help them do a budget. And most financial companies as well as banks, they have some tools for budgeting that are out there as well. So you can explore them and find one that really works for you. Because I know most of the time, many people will be like, oh my God, budgeting is so difficult, or they just dread it, right? But like we said, it's really an important part, an important tool in your journey, in your financial health journey as well. So yeah, so finding the best system that you want to use for your budgeting will go a long way as well.
Right. You know, and I think that sometimes when persons think about budgeting, they think about complicated Excel spreadsheets with color-coded things. It really doesn't have to be that complicated, you know, like what you just mentioned, the envelope system. I tried that before, and I must say it was actually very simple, because you already have everything allocated for different purposes, and then, you know, when it's done, it's done, and hopefully you don't just blow through all the money at once, because, you know, self-discipline would also be very important when it comes onto budgeting, you know. So, yeah. All right. So what does budgeting help with?
Okay. It actually helps with a lot. And first off, it also depends on like what is important to you, because when you're doing this, right, you also want to be true to your own values and your goals, right? Because if you are spending money in ways that are not true to your values and your goals, then you are not going to, like, you're going to be frustrated along the way, right? So it actually helps with like the different goals, and also aligning to your values as well. So for example, if your goals are to maybe pay off your debt, right? So you are going to make sure when your income is coming in, you're going to allocate a specific amount that goes towards repaying your debt, right? And you have a time frame in which you want to actually pay off that debt, right? So being specific, because when you're setting those goals, you have to make sure that they are smart, right? So if there's a specific amount, you're not just saying, oh, I'm repaying my debt. How much is your debt actually, right? So maybe you want to pay off a $2,000 debt, and maybe over a span of 20 months, right? So within that, you can say, okay, 2,000, I want to pay that off in over 20 months. So each month, I should make sure that I'm allocating $100, right? And you can then see, because you already have that goal established and you're already working on it, right? Guess what? If you have other savings that you end up seeing, because you are now so mindful when you're doing a budget, it makes you more mindful about your spending habits. Now you might have created more savings, right? So you can actually then maybe allocate some of those extra savings even towards that debt repayment. And guess what? You may actually end up being able to pay your debt sooner, right, than the 20 months. So it actually helps you. And the budget actually also helps you with your short-term and long-term goals as well, right? So, for example, if you in the short term, you want to save for emergency fund, right, which is usually between 3 to 6 months, right? So you can do that and set a goal to say, okay, this short-term goal, maybe within the 2 years, depending on where you are at and what your financial situation is, right? Some might be able to accomplish whatever, or maybe do a shorter-term goal, right? And some, the same goal, they might have to stretch it a little bit further because maybe they don't have so much discretionary income, like extra money at the end of the month, right? So depending on your situation, you can also work on your specific short-term and long-term goals. And some of the long-term goals as well may include things like saving for your retirement, saving for children's education as well, right? Or even saving for making a down payment for a house, right? Those are some of the goals that a budget will actually help with, right? And also will help you stay on track, right? Because you're also going to be tracking your spending over time, right? And making sure that whatever you have said, these are your goals, you are still on track with your goals, and you're still setting aside. And maybe along the way, you are sidetracked with the incident that happens, because things do happen, like lifestyle strikes you, maybe you lose your job and all that kind of stuff. It makes you mindful, right? And helps you get back on track once things are getting back, or maybe if you're tight on cash, right? It pushes you to be more innovative, maybe, right? To then look for other alternatives and solutions to say, okay, how can I increase my income? Because I'm not making my budget, right? If you find that maybe you're not making your budget from month to month, right? If it's so difficult and you're finding you're so pinched every time, right? It makes you to rethink, okay, should I be finding a job that pays me better, or should I be repositioning myself in another way? Should I consider even having a business of my own? Kind of, you know, those things will come to play, and that, like the budgeting system also helps you become more aware and be prepared for to be flexible in different situations that can come your way, and be able to see, okay, in the short term and in the long term, what can I do? And as challenges come my way, how can I bounce back as well?
Wow, incredible, incredible. Now, what is it that one might be able to do to stay on their budget or to improve their budget?
Okay, there are so many different things, and of course, like I won't be able to say all of them, right? And by all means, when you comment, everybody feel free to also add a suggestion of what has worked well for you, so that whoever is gonna read along the way can also be inspired and maybe try your way as well. So some of the things that also helps to stay on budget is, you know, really rethinking your subscriptions, right? And having a look at them to say, okay, so these subscriptions that I have on a monthly basis, are they still serving my purpose? Are they still in alignment with my values, right? And am I just being wasteful because some of these subscriptions, or recurring payments or billing, the money is just automatically going out without hitting the account, maybe, or maybe like without you necessarily making a decision in the moment, right? So if you just maybe look at those subscriptions, for example, do you really need to have all the accounts? Spotify, Disney, YouTube, Amazon, Netflix. I don't know if I mentioned Disney as well. Do you really need to have all of them? Of course, maybe if you have kids and all that kind of stuff, there's different needs that come to play. But depending if it's within your values to be an entertainer, right? Maybe it works for you and it's important to you. But maybe if they're not serving you and maybe you're not watching some of those streaming channels, it may be time to rethink those, right? And some of the things maybe you are paying for a subscription that you never use, right? So it might be a time to rethink that, right? Cut it out of the way so that you can also stay on budget, right? Because those things can bleed on your budget as well, right? And also, like looking at entertainment, right? You can rethink around entertainment. Do you have to be eating out every single weekend kind of deal or whatever? Why not invite people for coffee at your house, or maybe make a dinner for them at home, right? And maybe take turns as friends to have dinner at each other's house, right? That might help like with the budget, right? So that you're not always like, breaking your budget, right? Of course, you can set aside discretionary amount for things like that, right? But then if you are tight on your budget, right, you shouldn't restrict yourself from having fun, right? You can still do that and, find other creative ways of still enjoying life and being sociable, like having fun with other people as well. Right, and also you can also stay on budget by reducing your energy costs as well, right? So be it maybe with your electricity, you are mindful of turning off the light if you're not using it in whatever room that you just left, right? Or if you're leaving the home for the day, unplugging things that you are not using, maybe the microwave or things like that, right? Or maybe you can negotiate with your employer to say, okay, can I have more hours of working from home so that you can save from gas? If you are maybe driving maybe an hour every day, hour to hour back, you can save on gas with that, right? So you can say negotiate to work if that works for you, because I know it doesn't work for everybody. Maybe you might be a nurse and you need to go to work, but if it works for you, you might be able to negotiate that and you can save on that, right? And also even like being mindful, if you pay for your water bill, being mindful when you're in the shower, you're not just jumping in just for the sake of jumping in. You're going to be mindful, okay? Maybe I don't necessarily need to have a 2-hour shower. It's crazy, but some people do it, right? Sometimes they find it soothing, or they want to get clean. I don't know how clean you should be. I think 5-10 minutes should be okay. I'm advocating for that. I'm just kidding. But, I find sometimes people might be wasteful around water, and you find like many different people have different, okay, let me leave that one because it's one of my pet peeves around taking a long time in showers. But anyways, another thing that can help to help you stay online, right? Finding other opportunities, maybe even online, of how you can make extra money, right? Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe you can do an Uber Eats driver, maybe, right? Or maybe you can have you can sell things on Amazon, right? Or maybe you have some extra stuff that you're no longer using at home and they're still in good condition. Maybe consider selling them on Kijiji, make that extra money and put it back in your budget, right? Those are some of the things that you can do. Other things, find good deals out there. There are always deals. If you love something, right, and I'm pretty sure you can find it in a different place at a good deal. So try to find some good deals and consider thrift shopping. If you like different clothes and all that kind of stuff, consider also thrifting, like unique items, right, that are still in your style, whether it's clothes or decorative items, even like stores like Dollar Tree, Dollarama for decorative items. You can be creative and do yourself projects kind of do on a budget, right? And also being mindful when you're shopping. whether online or in store, will also help you stay on budget, and most importantly, live within your means, right? Whatever that means to you, help yourself by living within your means. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, taking that last point that you're talking about, living within your means, sometimes you see things that we believe, oh my goodness, I absolutely must have this for whatever reason. It could be clothes, it could be electronics, something having to do with technology. And then you put yourself in debt, and that is really not good, especially for persons on a budget, having a go. So as it relates to those persons who they think budgeting is super difficult and they don't know where to start, what would be your word of advice for these persons?
From where to start?
Yeah, they don't know how to start doing their budget, how to formulate it, what they need to make sure that they include. What word of advice for these persons?
All right. So what I can just say is that the starting point where you are at is actually setting your financial goals, right? You connecting with your financial goals, where you want to go. Say, for example, if you have your short-term and long-term goals as well, that will help you kind of have a plan in mind of where you want to go, right? And then with that in mind, you can then calculate all your sources of income, whether you have rental income coming in, whether you have business income coming in. Also, if you have income from your job, right? And maybe you, in this country, some people also sell bottles for income, right? So consider that as well, right? So any of the activities, even the side hustles, right? Put all that income together, all those sources, and write that down, right? And also being, how can I say, be realistic about your expenses as well, right? Write all the single expenses. For example, just look 3 months prior, right? How did I spend my money, right? Look at be critical and about those little mini expenditures, right? So include everything on how, because it gives you a picture on where you are spending your money most, right? And especially the discretionary one, because that is usually what really throws many people off their budget, right? So make sure that you set your financial goals, make sure you calculate your income, and understand what are your expenses as well, right? And most importantly, don't forget insurance, right? Because if you forget insurance, right, life happens, as they say. Life happens, right? There are accidents that happen, right? Anything some incidents or accidents that happen may throw you off budget so easily, right? For example, if you lose your job, right? And for example, if you are someone that is dependent on your laptop for work, right? And you should actually have something saved, maybe in your emergency fund. So if the laptop costs, say, maybe 2,000, right? You should have at least, say, 2,000 tucked away, right? So that if your laptop for some reason fails or blows up or whatever, right, you're able to replace it so that you can continue being productive. Because if you lose the laptop, right, you are out of business for a little time, right? And it can actually throw you off for a little bit, right? So things like that, you have to be mindful, and things like life insurance, things like disability insurance, as well as critical illness insurance, even rental or homeowner insurance as well. They are important because if something is to happen, you want to make sure that there's roof over, over your family, and you want to make sure that there's still food at your table, because you are actually ensuring that there's going to be future income, your future income abilities, right? You are ensuring that, so that you always have money coming in. Yeah.
Wow, that's super.
So that's where you can start, and there's so many things. You can't be exhaustive, right? Some of the things, when you're working one-on-one, if if you want more information, you can talk to me and we can sit down. We can look at your particular situation, and then we can break it down for your specific situation, and then we can work it through there. Because right now I'm trying to be as generic as possible, right? So some of the things may work for you, some of the things may not work for you, right? So that's why I always was saying you should also make sure that you're consulting your specific financial advisor. If you need one, especially when you're in Canada, feel free to reach out to me. I can connect directly with you, or I can connect you to other partners that I can also help you as well.
Okay, definitely. So as we wrap up now, I would like to know, and I'm sure that there are other persons as well interested in finding out what is like a good time in life for you to start to learn how to budget and even begin budgeting yourself.
Oh, the best time was yesterday. The next best time is today. Because like I said, it's a key part of your financial health, right? It's a key tool to your financial health, because you can't, like, you want to set, you don't want to just live your life without a purpose or without a plan, right? And the budget actually helps you with that too, because it's a plan for how you're going to spend your money, right? And you can actually keep yourself on track when you have a budget, right? So sometimes people are like, oh, I don't need a budget to tell me what to do and stuff like that. Sometimes, you know, they may be saying that, but like they might actually be doing a budget, right? Maybe just in their head, right? But most of the time, you're not able to really keep control over it, because it's just in your head. So you're not able, especially the discretionary ones, you're not able to keep a track over time. So okay, what did I spend money most on my discretionary expenses? You won't be able to track that, right? But if you have it on a budget, now you are actually bringing everything to life and everything playing before you. You're able to actually then control where your money is. You are giving your money an assignment and not just letting things go. So today is the best time to just start learning, right? There are many websites out there, right? Including the banks. Even the government website, if you're in Canada, the government website actually have great resources for finances, many different topics, whether it's debt, whether it's budgeting. They even have the budgeting tool as well. So if you go on the website, there's wealth of knowledge. You know, we are living in a world whereby ignorance is our own, the only thing that is our enemy here, because all the information is out there. The government's website does have that information. Most of the banks also have different tools, different even blogs for digestible, information and insights that you can learn, right? If you're interested in investing and all that kind of stuff, right, you can use your budgets to allocate, info like for your long-term goals, for your investments and stuff like that, right? So you can get more information about learning about investments as well. The information is out there. If you need to sit down with someone as well, a financial advisor or a financial specialist, feel free to reach out. We can give you that information as well.
Well, interesting. Wrapping up, I think that we have gotten to learn tonight that a budget is a super handy tool. It helps you to especially keep track of your money, especially for us who sometimes are like, what did I do with this much money, or what happened to that much money? I had it just a while ago. And then you realize, thinking back, you're like, oh, this is what actually happened to it. It helps you to settle your debts and all these things. And it has been a pleasure talking to you once again, Grace. So please, for those of us who are not aware of how to reach out to you, how to hit you up for a question or letting you know how you inspired us and how you actually taught us some things tonight, how is it that we're able to get into contact with you?
All right, so feel free to reach out to me. I've got 2 handles on Instagram, GraceRu1 and GraceRuB's _finance. So you can reach out to me through that, and you can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Follow me there. I also have a YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe. When I post new stuff, you'll be the first one to know. So make sure you subscribe to the notifications as well. And yeah, if you know, make sure you just reach out and make your intentions known to me, and probably you can get access to my personal number as well, and we can also connect on a personal level. And if you are looking for a new financial advisor, feel free to reach out. Or if you just want a second opinion, because you might have one but you want a second opinion, we can also help with that.